Did he tell you what happened to Montrell?
At first he didn't say nothing. He was like, "Oh, he good. Don't worry about it. He's all right."
But after an entire month of searching for her 2-year-old grandson, Montrell, prosecutors say that was never true.
Welcome or welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. The story I have for you today is about a little boy who just recently went to a Mother's Day get-together with his father. Then, he went missing shortly after. And police wouldn't do a thing about it until nearly a month later, when it was much, much too late. This is the story of Montrell Williams. 2-year-old Montrell Williams was born in the Bronx, New York, to his mother, Sierra Carroll, and his father, Arius Williams. He was said to be a sweet and happy toddler who was also a mama's boy. He loved going outside, running around, and playing with his toy cars. The boy's parents, who were both very young, his father only 20 years old and his mother only 17, had split up and they had shared custody of the little boy. So on May 10th, 2025, Arius had his son for an approved overnight visit, and he would take him to a Mother's Day gathering that was happening at his own mother's house, Sabrina Williams. During this time, she and Arius would get into an argument, and he would grab his 2-year-old son and storm out of the house with him. Then the next day, May 11th, the father failed to return Montrell to his mother, Sierra, and so she called the police. However, authorities told her that since the little boy was with his biological father, she would need to wait and take it to family court. Sierra was very worried about Montrell, though, so she took to social media and began posting asking for help in locating her son. Arius's family hadn't seen the toddler since he'd stormed out of his mother's house either, and they soon became worried and started asking Arius where he was. At first, he told him not to worry, it was fine, his son was in a safe place. But then, he stopped answering their questions and ran away. The father also began posting on social media about the things that he was supposedly doing with Montrell, but he never included any pictures. Arius's own mother, Sabrina, had called and texted her son over and over again after he had taken Montrell out of her home on May 10th, but he refused to return the little boy. So the next day, May 11th, she had contacted authorities, letting them know that he had taken her grandson. But she was told that since he was the little boy's legal guardian, it was not considered kidnapping, and there was nothing they could do. According to Arius's family, they had also visited 2 NYPD station houses that day, but had been told the same thing.
I went to the 40th precinct and asked them, "Can they help me?" They said, "What's the situation?" I said, "My son kidnapped my grandchild out of my house." They was like, "Oh, I can't help. That's your son is 20 years old, and I can't do nothing about that because he's legal. That's his father."
Then weeks later, on Sunday, June 8th, with police still not helping to find her son, Montrell's mother, Sierra, bumped into Arius as he was getting off a bus. She had previously been trying to get in contact with him to find out where their child was, but he had been avoiding her at all costs. So Sierra now asked him in person where their son was. To which Arius said, "Oh yeah, I'll take you to Montrell." Then he led her to St. Mary's Park, where he whipped out a knife, pointed it at her, and said, "Shut the fuck up. I threw that N-word into the river." Immediately following this interaction, Sierra contacted police, and Arius was subsequently arrested and taken into custody. At the same time, Sierra was granted an order of protection against him. The father actually had a warrant out for his arrest for custodial interference. This had been issued days earlier on May 28th after a family court had requested that he produce his son, but he had failed to. Now, it wasn't until the father was in custody that authorities decided that it was finally time to share a picture of Montrell with the public and ask for their assistance in locating him. No Amber Alert was ever sent out. Police department divers then began searching the waterways in the area, trying to locate the 2-year-old. And on Wednesday, June 10th, after 2 days of looking, they would find Montrell. His body was discovered in the East River, under the Whitestone Bridge which connects the Bronx and Queens. He was badly decomposed and swaddled in a blanket, as well as wearing just a diaper and one sock. The little boy had last been seen in a white Calvin Klein t-shirt and a diaper. The reason why authorities had been searching that area was because they had reviewed video surveillance that was taken nearby on May 10th, just before midnight. In it, they saw Montrell standing next to Arias on the Bruckner Expressway. The father then picks his son up and suddenly launches him into the air and into the river. The little boy is still very clearly alive. The footage then shows Arias walking away from the bridge all alone. From there, just 45 minutes later, the Heartless father had gone to another relative's home. Now, Montrell's autopsy has not been completed yet. Therefore, his official cause of death is still undetermined. 20-year-old Arias Williams was charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter in relation to his son Montrell's death. He's currently being held on Riker Island without bail after a judge deemed him to be a potential flight risk. Arias' stepfather, Leroy Burton, would say that nobody in the family had expected this because the 20-year-old had loved his son. He said that he did not know what had driven the father to do this. However, he also stated that the 20-year-old had recently been struggling with his mental health, and he said, "He got issues. He got mental issues. He needs help. He needs a psych evaluation. That's what he needs. It's Arias, but it wasn't him. The physical body was Arias, but the mind wasn't Arias." Leroy claimed that over the last few months, his stepson had been doing things like walking back and forth, talking to himself, laughing, and staring at the wall. All kinds of weird things. And Arias' own mother, Sabrina, was said to have recently met with a lawyer to discuss having her troubled young son committed to a psychiatric facility. According to one of his cousins, Bernice, there had been multiple violent incidents between Arias and his mother. He would tell her that he wished she was dead or that he was going to stab her. Sabrina was terrified and said that she was going to die before him because she knew he was going to kill her. She kept saying that she was going to put him away, but clearly never had. Due to this violent behavior, Arias' relatives did not trust him to be around his son Montrell alone. And they did not allow him to be with the little boy unsupervised. Usually, when he had Montrell, his own mother, Sabrina, was the one who was taking care of the 2-year-old. Arias' family said that the father would not go to the store for the things that his son needed and wouldn't change his diaper either. Sabrina was essentially the one who was taking care of Montrell because according to Bernice, Arias didn't do shit. He didn't raise him at all. Bernice additionally stated that her cousin doesn't give a damn and said, "Arias is Satan, just an evil boy." Now, for whatever reason, Arias' stepfather Leroy has refuted the claims that he was violent towards his family. And even though he acknowledged that his stepson had been arrested for a domestic assault involving Sierra, he believed that the accusations against him were false. Arias had been taken into custody 2 years prior, after it was alleged that he had shoved Sierra into a wall. But the case had been adjudicated and sealed. According to Leroy, prior to this incident, his stepson had been working with kids as a teacher's assistant. The stepfather would also state that Arias had been looking to move out of his mother's house, and he had actually been staying at a homeless shelter for about a week prior to Mother's Day. Leroy claimed that following this stay at the shelter, Arias began acting very strange, and he believes that it was due to him being given some spiked weed. But Arias' cousin Bernice said that it was definitely more than just marijuana, and she wants him to pay for what he has done to little Montrell. She also said that she wants to see him suffer and hopes that he gets beaten up while in jail. Montrell's grandmother, Octavia Roan, is not only disappointed by the NYPD's lack of response to the little boy's father taking him, but she also said that Montrell's mother, Sierra, is set to graduate high school in just a few days, something she now has to do without her little boy. Octavia said, "Every time his mom walked in the door, he didn't want to be bothered by anybody but his mother. He was so happy every time he saw his mother. It's so hard to talk about. She's heartbroken." Montrell's family is now planning on taking legal action against the NYPD. And according to the police department, there is now an internal investigation going on into the way the boy's case was handled.
He's a loving, kind, caring boy, playful, joyful. Everybody loved him and everybody's just heartbroken. Everybody's sad, heartbroken, can't in disbelief that somebody would do this to a 2-year-old.
They had negligence. The NYPD should be ashamed of themselves of not understanding that a 2-year-old that has a history of domestic violence in the home, and he had no support.
We reached out to the NYPD for comment. They're telling us in this statement the murder of Montrell Williams is an absolute tragedy, and the NYPD extends our deepest condolences to his family. Our detectives are always committed to conducting complete and thorough investigations, and the arrest of Arias Williams is the first step in the pursuit of justice for Montrell's death. Meanwhile, Montrell's mother was originally supposed to attend that news conference today, but she was simply too distraught.
The same night that Montrell's body was discovered, a candlelight vigil was held for him on the bridge over the Bronx River.
Please make healing in this family.
The tight-knit family of a young father accused of doing the unthinkable is struggling tonight to understand why.
I don't have the answer to why he do this and why he would even think of doing this.
They're remembering 2-year-old Montrell Williams as a sweet and happy toddler.
Montrell was a great baby. He was great. It's just hard. It's real hard.
He kept calling him Daddy. He trusted him. He trusted him. He took his life.
The mystery is so painful and baffling to the family of the young father. They say he recently seemed like he'd begun struggling with mental health issues, arguing with family members before leaving their home with little Montrell last month.
Nobody expected this at all. Because he loved his son, but I don't know what drove him to this.
Thank you for listening to Montrell's story today. This is so upsetting. Montrell's family did not trust his father Arias to be alone with him. And as soon as the father did take his son, they immediately tried to get police involved, but were ignored over and over. It's really just completely unacceptable. What do you think? So, if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And turn on your notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon, so check it out on patreon.com/awickedworld, or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims are never forgotten, and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a story you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email to awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.